we're back.
We are back.
Wow, episode 4.
4 of them things. Episode 4.
Can I just say, like, us having these conversations is nothing new.
Nothing new.
And so, I think it gives a glimpse also into how important it is to talk to your people. Like, just talk. Like, sometimes there's always, like, this idea that you got to have something to talk about or you call people when you want something. But just to tap in can give you so much. So I appreciate us being able to do this and bring this to people.
Listen, I appreciate you for just being the spearhead behind this and just the one that keeps us connected and always been the person to talk to. Because you're really easy to talk to.
I appreciate that.
So that is just a blessing for me that I don't take for granted. And you're right. Like, sometimes we just call each other and we'll get on the phone and be on the phone for a long time and completely get distracted from, like we said in the previous episode, our long list that we have to do.
Or we'll be doing wow weird.
Or we'll be doing wow, because your brain works fast and mine does too. Yeah. So we'll get things done.
Right.
But again, it's just a blessing to have you be that vessel for me. So I agree. Talk to your people, especially if you have those people that you can talk to.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's so true. That's so true. So what's been up? What's new? What's been going on?
Me, I've been doing okay. Life is life, and as I always say. But things are going really, really well, though. Things are going well. Wrapping up a couple projects, which is always good. Got a couple endeavors that are coming together. And then getting ready to the finish line to this school stuff.
Don't even.
This school stuff is, and it is traumatizing, but I don't want it to discourage people from going back to school. Go back to school.
For sure.
But it ain't going to be no cakewalk, but it's worth it in the end if you go back to school for the right thing.
No, for sure. I think about that quote that's been circulating that says, like, what a blessing it is to be in the midst of a challenge that you asked for. So I think about that all the time. I'm like, you know what? This is a part of the blessing. This is a part of the prayer. The challenge is.
It is.
So I receive that.
It's what we pray for. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
So it's a part of that.
And you don't want it to come easy.
You don't, because it's like, did I really earn this?
Right.
And like, you're right. It's funny you say that. I had the same thought, like, Greg, this is what you prayed for. And when you ask me how I've been doing, I've been trying to sit in all the things I prayed for. And that has just been, God is amazing.
Yeah.
What about you?
It's the same. Just trying to keep it together.
Daily?
I'm like, daily. But sometimes things are a lot. So just trying to do my best to stay on top of things and release the urge to have to know everything, releasing this, like, the false safety of perfection and just like doing what I do, trusting and just showing up.
You're doing really well with that, by the way.
Thank you.
Because, perfection, we struggle with things having to be perfect. And you've learned to adjust and flow so well.
Do you think perfection is real or fake?
Fake.
Literally.
Fake. I think it's, I think so. I don't know. I think some things can be perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like some things can be perfect. Sorry. But I guess it's to me, something I'll say that's perfect.
Perfectly imperfect.
I guess. But,
right?
But I think some things can be perfect, but some people probably be like, I don't really like that.
Yeah.
But for me, I look at some things like episode 1 through 3 has been perfect.
See, okay, so let's roll with that. What has been perfect about it?
First off, our videographer is amazing.
Shout out to
Can
Josh.
we just try? Josh is just...
14, 13 visuals.
Josh is amazing.
Keeping it humble over there.
Just so humble. He is amazing. And I have no edits, and I always have edits. Literally almost no edits. He's nice. He listens. He gives us great feedback.
And his wife, Tracy.
Tracy is a doll, so sweet. Understanding. So that's the first part. The set and the development of the set has been great.
Wow.
Working with you, you know me. I have a select. My time is here.
Wow.
Here. And for me to carve out the time and the sacrifices, I would not do it for anyone else. So that makes this perfect. The topics are perfect. The vibe is perfect.
The vibes are always
there.
The
fits are perfect. I mean, Thank you. You see the pan? See, just what I'm saying. He panned automatically on the. He knew. So, and this wasn't planned, by the way.
It's never planned.
Look at that. Look at that. So it's perfect. What do you think is perfect about it?
Oh man, it goes back to showing up. Like, I haven't had expectations because this is what we do. Yeah. So maybe perfection has come from releasing the expectations.
Yeah.
I think we touched slightly on surrender at the last episode, and it's like things can be perfect when you haven't already made up in your mind what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And
right?
then your expectations get exceeded. Because we just, how we do. Because this is what we do. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of planning. That I don't know if that's good or bad, but
literally what we do.
This is what we do. We hop in, we turn the mics on. He makes sure we straight, and then we go from there.
Yeah, expectations. So when you kind of think about expectations, and you know what else? Mm-hmm. Not feeling like I need to be in control of anything.
Right.
Control and perfection are like, I don't know if they're siblings or cousins.
Or identical twins.
Or identical twins. Because when you think about control, it's this idea of like, it has to go how I need it. It needs to meet the expectation, how I think it needs to be. Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way it'll work.
And rigid.
It's strict over here.
It's strict. Control, it's like a tight necktie. It's just like choking you.
It has to be this way or it won't work.
Yeah.
Wow. Think about how stressful that sounds.
Oh my gosh.
It has to be this way. And I don't know if you learned this, but I for sure have learned this over time. There's a lot of things we don't control.
Most things we don't control.
Most things. God will switch something up on you quick.
Wow.
You think it's 1 o'clock. I'm going to show you it ain't. And you're like, wait, I did this. This is my show. You don't control nothing.
and not for nothing, on a serious note, look at the world, right?
Yeah.
And look at everything that is happening, right? That we're just waking up and we're living into completely outside of our control. Yeah. And so it's almost like when we impart control, even just how we talked about control and how it relates to perfection right now, it almost felt extremely dangerous. Mm-hmm. Almost like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But yet so many people, ourselves included at times, have sought to be in control and have held on tightly to it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it gives this false sense of safety. Like if I make up in my mind how something is supposed to be, I establish the expectation that it's going to be or go that way, then everything will be okay.
God.
And that's insane.
That's insane. But that's how most people's brains work.
Yeah.
Like, this is how it should go. This is what makes sense. And everyone else adjusts because this is the way.
Or this is how I need it to go. This is how I need things to go for me to feel good about it. I need it to go this way.
Wow. It just keeps resonating with me. Like, most things we do not have control over.
We don't.
We just, like, I really don't think we do.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. So where have you seen people really trying to hold on to it? We see control a lot in clinical work, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think from the jump, there's this expectation, we run into where at the onset of therapy, people attempt to be in control of that. I mean, one of the biggest vessels of challenge, therapy, and it's like I'm about to, I'm about to infringe on your sense of control with this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so funny you said it because I was going to go another way with it, but when you talk about the therapy piece, there are sometimes clients come to therapy and they want to control the work and the session and how things go, and sometimes it's just not a good therapeutic relationship, sure, but there are sometimes as a clinician, you have to be skilled to work around that trauma.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. Or I'll even take it a step further.
Please.
As a clinician, I don't believe myself to be in control.
At all.
I always say I do not give advice as a clinician.
Ever.
if I were to be in a place of advice giving, it would be another form of trying to initiate control over someone's life who I have no idea about. I'm sitting with people for 50 minutes. And outside of that 50 minutes, God knows what is going on. So how on earth do I feel like I can impart any piece of control into someone who is the ringleader of their life, right? And so I think that's another thing, like, and maybe even a fear of therapy for people, that I'm going to be in a situation where someone's going to be like controlling me, you know? But no, so the clinical piece, a lot of times I see control as a means, again, of safety. I see people utilizing this sense of control because if I can think I know what's going to happen, it's going to make me feel safe, right? Because it can feel very scary to be faced with the unknown or to be considering something happening that I didn't think about or plan for.
The unpredictability piece is scary.
Yeah.
And it can feel unsafe. And I keep thinking trauma, because there's sometimes unpredictability for some people has led to hurt, pain, and deceit.
Yeah.
So they're like, I need to make sure I know what's happening because I know what unpredictability has looked like for me in the past. So
mine is racing. No, but because, you know, sometimes I give myself moments of, and this sounds diabolical. And I don't know if this is the therapy in me, but there are moments where I know I'm going to run into certain things in life. So I allow my brain to think about them happening. And I even, at times, I allow myself to become a little bit unhinged because it's a reminder and like a gut check that like, hey, remember, you're not in control of any of this. But know that since the beginning of your time, you have been able to deal with everything that has happened to you that has been outside of your control.
Wow.
So let's not go down this, you know, this rabbit hole of thinking that everything that's happening that feels good, like you're in control. Even the good stuff, you're not in control of that.
Control of that. That's why I'm starting to think you're not in control of anything.
We're not.
At first I said kinda, then I said some things. Now it's everything. We're not in control of anything.
So on that note, what's the difference between being in control and making choices?
I don't think you can be. You can only be in control of your choices.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You make whatever choice seems like a sound choice for you and hope that it was the right one. That's how I think it goes.
Right.
And everything, like again, everything is a choice. Some of my friends say this. I have some very logical friends that have trained me to understand. Everything you do is a choice. And sometimes it works out to where it's a good choice, and then and sometimes it's not.
Wow.
So what about you? What do you think?
You know, I do clinically, one of the things that I introduce often that I love, because again, mindfulness piece, the Mindful Maya. A really great tool of mindfulness is observation. And I may have mentioned this before in some previous episodes, but this relates to control because observation is a mindfulness tool in which we acknowledge to ourselves what it is we're able to see and what it is that we're not able to see. So in other words, the things that are in our control and the things that are outside of our control. So as what you said, we can observe our own thoughts. We can observe our own feelings and behaviors. What we can't control or what we cannot observe are the thoughts of others, right? What we can observe are others' intentions, right? And yet we try to be into that. We try to impart some control on other people in a sense. And so I think it's important from a personal standpoint and from an awareness standpoint to acknowledge what in our life do we have control over, and what in our life do we not have control over? And can we, rectify and somehow get to a point of release with those things that are outside of our control?
Listen, you asked me this earlier, and I'm going to take the shades off. You got the shades, right? I'll take the shades off for this one. But you asked earlier about control and what do I see as a clinician in the sense of when patient or when clients come and they often have this sense of I can control certain things.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came up in my brain and my mind was people. Trying to control people. Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Oof.
And that's one of the harsh realities to face, because people, you have your experience and you're like, I want this to look this way. I want this to feel this way. And often we interact with people and we're like, I need these people to do these things to where this feels good for me.
Wow.
And it's like, it's impossible. You cannot control another person's thoughts, intentions, the decisions that they make. Like, you have no control over that.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that comes up for me often in therapy sessions is clients initially coming into sessions like, I need to control this person. Of course, they don't use that language, but what's presented is the notion of control. And I need this person to do these things to where I feel good.
Definitely.
Make sense?
Expectations.
Right?
I'm going to... It's the same as seeing situations where, or maybe you yourself, you enter an uncomfortable conversation and maybe you play it out in your mind before you enter it.
Yeah.
But what you also play out in your mind that maybe you don't realize is, I'm going to say this and then they're going to say this.
Every time.
Or I'm going to say this and then they're going to respond this way, or I'm going to need them to respond this way. So a question that I pose to my clients is, okay, what if that doesn't happen?
I did the same thing.
Now
literally.
What?
Yeah.
Then what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And usually there's no answer, or you can kind of see the nervous system react to like, what do you mean? Like, because number one, you can't control this person, so they don't have to respond that way. They may not. So how are you going to control how you respond to the unknown about how this is going to go?
I do the same thing. My language is, well, we don't know because they're not here, right? Because we don't know. They're not here. We can play out 1,000 different scenarios.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of like, right. I'm like, but we don't know.
Right.
There's some possibilities, right? But do we know? They may not respond at all. So, like, again, what do you do with that? And that, again, brings it back to them because, again, we can only control this.
Yeah.
And I think if people really understood and really adopted that mindset and lived through that, there would be a lot less issues than we have. But people really struggle with, I need you to do this.
Right.
And I'm going to make you. And it's like impossible.
Yeah. It's a challenge because, the world feels unsafe. And we're not even talking about natural disasters. We're not even necessarily talking about like violence, but like mentally unsafe. Like, when we kind of consider some of the mental hurdles or challenges that we're up against, it can make us feel very exposed, extremely vulnerable. A really great exercise that I do with people is I have them draw 2 circles, draw a circle and then draw a larger circle on the outside. And I said on the inside, put everything that you feel right now is completely out of your control. And the list is long. And we find that most of the things within their control are things that are stressing them out the most or causing the most anxiety or whatever it is. And then on the outside circle, I say, okay, let's put in some of the things that, the inside is what's within your control. The outside is all the things that are, out of your control. And it's interesting because in the things that are out of our control, we're so focused on how those things make us feel and how we need to be in control of those things that we don't realize that within many of the things outside of our control, there are things we can actually impart control upon. But we're so fixated on how this thing makes me feel. We're so fixated on the expectation that we created that we don't realize there's something we can do sometimes with the things that are outside of our control.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Do you feel that if we put more energy and time and honed in on the things that we can control, that would kind of shift our mood and we have a more positive experience?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Whatever we give energy and attention to grows larger.
I almost threw this mic back there. Sorry, but that's...
Think about that, right?
That's crazy.
Whatever we give energy and attention to grows larger. And that's why I encourage my clients, like, look, let's not be unrealistic here.
Yeah.
Like, being out of control and our expectations not being met are going to make us feel a certain type of way.
Of course.
Right? We're human. It's the same reason that, forgiveness is a whole nother episode. But and I won't even go there. But when we think about thinking negatively, for example, right, we're always gonna have that voice that speaks negatively. But our mistake is we say, well, don't think negative when that's completely unrealistic. So what I encourage clients to do is, look, if we're going to think negative, which we are, let's also be intentional about the positive side. So now your brain and your mind has more to chew on than just the negative. Right? And so that's the concept of, let me recognize, even in this very difficult, challenging experiences, what is it that I can do? Where does my control reside in this situation? Right? So when you say, well, do you think if people really look at the things that they can control and hone in more on those? Yeah. Because now your mind has more to work with. It has more to consider.
And it's like the quick reframe of like, that's out of my control. I can't really put a lot of thought into that. That simple reframe. While as opposed to, these things are out of control. My life is a disaster. Things are going haywire. Like, it's like, no, those are things you can't control, but you can control these things. So focus more on those things and let that kind of guide and shift your mood. Wow.
And it's so, because we've all done it. Of
course.
We worry down things that we can't do anything about.
Oh my God.
Or it's like, you worrying about this thing or not worrying about it isn't going to change it anyway.
At all.
Like, you decide it's out of your control. If you decide, like, well, I'm going to think positive about this thing again, it's still not going to change your grade from a B to a D or a D to a whatever. Like, nothing's going to change. The damage or the situation is done.
I know you probably wonder why I'm laughing, because a lot of these things, we talk often, and we talk about almost everything, if not everything. And one of your quotes is, Greg, I can't worry about that. That's why I'm laughing, because you'll like,
ask me, can you imagine? I'm like, I can't.
Before I even get the sentence out, you'll be like, I can't.
I don't want to go down that road.
You're like, Greg, you know how I am. I'm not doing that. I'm like,
I can't.
I'm like, because I'm dramatic. We both are dramatic. But I'm like, can you imagine? She's like, I can't.
I don't want to.
She's like, I can't worry about that. Like, being in school, we've had some professors that have like played with us. And I'm going to keep it G-rated here. And I'm like, we're like, on to the next week.
Yeah.
Because I can't worry about that.
It's coming, it's gone.
But it's taken us a long time. I've known you for over half of my life. It's taken both of us a long time to get there, though. For sure.
I'm a reframed worry wart.
Ooh.
Okay? But again, worrying can make you sick.
Literally.
It can literally
sick.
Physically make you sick.
Wow.
And it's like, I have to, if I'm going to be intentional about the food that I eat, I need to be intentional about the food that I feed on in my mind as well. I can't worry about this. I can't chew on this too long. You know what I mean? So in your work though, how have you gotten people to that place of just kind of recognizing what their relationship with control looks like, and then like shifting and changing it?
I think when I think about the clinical process of it, first off, it's a long process. This isn't a 1-2 session thing, because you're literally reviewing, like, you're uncovering trauma, you're processing that, getting an understanding of that, and then you're talking about the notion of control, helping them understand what control is and how it shows up for them. But then also, it's like repetition and really retraining their brain to reframe things in a different way. And the whole uncovering the trauma, the building the awareness piece, and then retraining your brain from something that you've done for years and years and years, that's a pretty long process.
Yeah.
But I think what's important and what's helpful is the repetition of it and the constant reframes. I think that's the work that I do with them. And then really helping them understand, like you shared earlier, these are the things that we can control and these are the things that we cannot. So how do we adjust and how do we reconcile with that? But again, it's not a 1-session thing. Like, you're literally retraining and reprogramming your brain. So it's a pretty long process. But once they get there and they get those concepts and really start to live them, then you can see a completely different shift in how they navigate the world and in their mood too.
Yeah.
So deep clinical work, but very life-changing work though in the same.
For sure. And that brings me to how some of my client work works kind of like backwards. And so when I kind of consider moments of control, you work with, and at Amethyst, we've worked with clients upwards of like 5 years, 6 years. We've really, when we talk
Shout
about
out to y'all, by the way. I see y'all.
Yeah. Because you're doing some
some really good work. To be with me for 5 years, you're doing some good work.
Oh,
Proud
my goodness. Anyway, I could just go on a
All
rampage about clients. But one thing that I've noticed is trust is involved a lot in relinquishing control, And so there may be a situation that a client comes to, that someone that I've seen different versions of, and we've worked, done some really deep work for a long time. And it's like, where's the piece of you that trusts the work that you've done to know that you don't have to be certain about this thing? So when we think about control chases certainty. And so the backwards piece is, let's kind of consider the areas of yourself that you need to trust so that relinquishing control doesn't feel so dangerous.
Ooh, wow.
Right? It's like you've put these pieces into place. Trust that you're going to know what to do when the moment arrives, right? Trust that you're going to know how to navigate something that you couldn't plan for.
Is some of that kind of motivating them to trust themselves and kind of helping them build this level of confidence too?
Absolutely. I think it's confidence and the recognition that I always say to clients sometimes, like, listen, the house is not on fire. Like, if this doesn't go as you hope it would or as you wish it would, it does not mean that your life is just going to end up in shambles.
It's interesting because it makes me think, a term that I use with patients and clients is like reassuring them, like, you have the skills.
You have the skills.
And that sounds like such a minute thing, but to hear your therapist that you've been working with for years remind you and like reassure you, like, you have the skills, like, you're good.
Yeah.
I think that is motivating too, to hear that, because they know me, I ain't gonna lie.
Right.
If he ain't got the skills, it's like, I'll see you next week. And they be like, no. I'm like, we got to figure it out.
Yeah.
But when you hear, you got the skills, like, you're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's motivating too. And it helps with the reframe, I think.
For sure. That's why I always mention, like, reflection. I'll say to clients, like, let's think back about this time that you did that. Remember? Like, I think I've talked about this in a previous episode, and they're like, well, I don't really want to pat myself in the back. No, reflection is not like a peace prize for you. This is a tool. This allows you to see where you've been in similar situations. Yeah. You've navigated them and you've gotten on the other side. One thing, and I think I may have mentioned this also, but one thing in my worry wart days, I would call, my dad's a great grounding force, and I would call and say, like, oh, this thing, da-da-da. Yeah. And he would always say, like, how many times does God have to remind you? Like, how many times do you have to see that you have the ability to navigate times of uncertainty? You have the ability to get through things that are outside of your control. Yeah, yeah. So you're right. It's the confidence piece. It's the trust piece as well.
That trust is next level.
Yeah, it's. You gotta have a certain wherewithal about yourself.
That trust is something different because some people come to therapy not trusting themselves.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that, but that's true. Like they need the real guidance.
Sure.
Like, these concepts are great, but when I apply them, this is challenging. Let me know what I need to do because I don't trust myself in this situation.
Wow. And my thing was that is like, why not you? Why not you?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that makes you feel so beneath other people that you are not worthy of trust?
Yeah.
Right? There's a worthiness that comes with the work that you do in therapy, that comes with lived experiences that you've navigated. Your sheer existence brings you value. So why are you not to be trusted?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we hear this a lot on social media. We talk about this in probably every episode before this, but just the social media piece and how trauma gets thrown out so loosely. Oof. And I do like that there's the awareness piece and people are talking about it and we're fighting stigma, but a lot of these things are rooted in trauma.
Absolutely.
And again, people are talking about those things, but it's like they're trying to kind of washing it down in a sense, but being able to connect the client's trauma to how they show up and control and trust and those things, that part of the clinical work is important as well. Because people want to make those connections and understand the why. And just saying trauma and throwing that out loosely, I don't think that's enough.
Yeah.
It's like, what type of trauma? And how did it manifest? And is it still present? And have I worked through it? And if I haven't, like, it's all of those things that you're not going to get from a quick TikTok.
Yeah.
So the trauma piece is very, very important too, but finding a really good clinician that can help you navigate that and make those connections is what's important, especially when you're dealing and you're trying to like really address the issues with control and trust and being present and working through these challenging times. So
right.
yeah.
Safety. Yeah. Trauma-informed therapy.
Trauma-informed, that's exactly what it is.
If you're considering a therapist, you recognize or you question if something that you've gone through is trauma, consider searching for a trauma-informed therapist. Yes. For sure.
That's exactly.
So enough about us. And our people, like, who else out there? Like, let's see anyone who's seeking insight. I feel like we have a letter.
We do have a letter. Okay. This is good. So, dear Full Circle, I'm a 35-year-old mom and a wife, and I have 3 children, and by most accounts, I'm doing well, as she puts in quotes. But lately, I've been feeling like I'm drowning in a life I'm supposed to be grateful for. Wow. I micromanage everything, from our weekly meals to how the towels are folded.
I'm over here like, did I write this?
Sure.
Is this
me? One of your journal entries? She goes, look, distracted.
Sorry.
I redo my husband's chores after he's gone to bed. I review our finances constantly, even though nothing has changed. And I feel on edge when I'm not managing something. I know it sounds small, but it's not. It feels like if I don't hold all the pieces together, they'll instantly fall apart. And I'll fall with them. I've started waking up at 3 a.m. with my mind racing. Did I forget something? Am I okay? Are the kids okay? Am I okay? Is everything okay? These are the constant thoughts I'm having at 3 o'clock in the morning. My therapist suggested the word control, but I hate how it sounds. I've always thought as myself as very disciplined and responsible, the one that gets things done and the one that figures things out and gets things done the right way. But if I'm being honest, underneath the control is a lot of fear. It's a fear of failure, of letting people down, and of not being enough. I want to soften. I want to trust more. I even pray for peace, but I still find myself tightening my grip every time something happens and it feels uncertain. How do you learn to let go when being in control has always been your safety net and your identity? 35-year-old mom, wife, Richmond, Virginia.
Wow.
That sounds like so...
I felt that in my body.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like...
That's how the last one was from the last episode, so have at it.
Well, because I'm just like, aren't you tired? Like, golly. That's a lot to manage.
It's wild. I've seen that so much that I feel like that's a normal Black woman's experience.
Again, I wondered, did I write that? Because I don't think you're wrong. But again, so let's break this down. Please. So many things. Like, I think I felt it in my body because there were just layers of anxiety in it. I think there was a piece she said, where she said, like, basically this extreme fear that the bottom's going to completely fall out if she doesn't do this.
Yeah.
When I'm wondering, like, where's the proof of that? Where's the proof of that? That if you don't redo your husband's chores, that everything's about to... the house is going to end up being on fire. The other thing that comes up for me is how, when we kind of consider control, in trying to be in control, how many responsibilities do we assume that are not ours?
Oh.
Like, how many things do we pick up that are not ours to pick up? So, it's layered. It's almost like, wow, we can inadvertently choose to be in exhaustion and turmoil by trying to be in control of everything.
Which again leads me to the question of, where does that come from? And I remember like my mom would come back when we were doing chores. My mom would come back and edit. And was that control or was that this is how things are done? So I guess there's a balance, but like, I mean, of course, if the dishes are dirty, then obviously I didn't do them right. But it's like, where's the line drawn?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, think about it, right? It's control because
either way is control.
It's linked to expectation.
Okay.
Right? I expect one of Marlo's chores is to make her bed.
Uh-huh.
Right? It's never perfect. Never.
Uh-huh.
What changes things for her if I go and tuck in the comforter in the right places versus allowing it to be imperfectly perfect for a 4-year-old?
Uh-huh.
Like, there's no need to assume the responsibility of that. She made the bed.
Gotcha. So when do you show her how to make it right?
As she grows, she's gonna get better.
Oh, she'll get it.
I'm relinquishing control because at 20 years old, she's not gonna be making the bed like a 4-year-old.
Hopefully,
at
right?
10 years old, she's not gonna be making bed like a 4-year-old.
Okay.
Right? Because I think there's going to be this, I think there's this space. And here's another thing, right, that's coming up in control. I think we hit on this a little bit last time. There's a surrender that comes with relinquishing control.
Yeah.
I have to surrender the need for perfection.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right? And allow things to kind of naturally be. I'm going to teach this little girl how to make her bed properly. I've shown her. This is how it's done today. This is how it's done now and how it needs to look in this phase of her life.
Gotcha.
I have to surrender to that process.
Because I have no kids, but I'm thinking like expectations and maybe at 4 years old, this is appropriate for a 4-year-old. But 14, it's like, okay, let's make some edits.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Well,
gotcha.
Even 2 months from now, let me show you a trick.
Oh, gotcha.
As opposed to it needs to be done this way.
Do you think tone, approach, those things coincide with control as well?
1,000%, right? Because, so here's the other thing that I'm hearing in this letter.
Yeah.
Just complete rigidity.
Yeah.
You know, and what we don't realize is when you think about something being rigid, it comes with tension, right? So if even right now, like listeners, if you tighten up your body and make it tense, right? You make it rigid. You're not going to be able to hold on to that but for so long.
Ooh. And
then when you do release it, your body's going to be so tired.
I was going to say relieved, but...
Well, that too. You're going to be relieved because you've let go of the rigidity.
Right,
You've now become flexible, right? An analogy that I use a lot with clients is like, hold on, it feels like you're trying to squeeze a fistful of sand here. And what happens when you try to squeeze a fistful of sand? You can't do it, right? But what happens if you try to hold it lightly?
I like the word flexibility.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of a couple clients that mirror this. And they're exhausted in sessions. Sometimes I have to do so many things. And I've had some clients that have done some wonderful work around partnership and relinquishing control.
Wow.
But I didn't use the word flexibility. Like, how flexible are we being in these spaces? Like, we do the pick and choose and those things and the partnership and the conversations, but flexibility makes it less about them and more about you. Like, how flexible can you be?
Yeah.
In letting some things kind of go?
Absolutely.
Like, how flexible? Like, can you introduce that dynamic into your home to where you're flexible?
And I'll add to that because I've had this conversation in couples works, mindful marriages. Shout out to the couples in the mindful marriage course. If we're going to shift expectations, especially in relationship or relationship with others, because now we're seeing, right, where control is so important. Because if you don't relinquish control, it's going to impact all of your relationships. Because you can't be controlling here and then try not to be controlling over here. It's going to spread across the board. So one of the ways to think about adjusting expectations is to be realistic and to be flexible. Because that's another thing I would ask.
Sure.
Is this sister being realistic with the ways in which she's micromanaging her home?
And it makes me wonder, how long has this been her process?
Yeah.
'Cause she's married with kids, so I'm assuming she's been doing this for a while.
And that's where the release of shame comes from. You know, I mean, I think we cannot judge this woman because she is doing what she thinks needs to be done in order to keep her safe. And that's what we all naturally try to do, right? And so it's going to take some deep work, and it's going to take some really deep discomfort for her to recognize that some of the things that I'm doing, number one, are not my responsibility, but number two, maybe aren't very realistic.
She said, I want to soften and I want to trust more. First off, her therapist is good.
Yeah.
Number one. Two, I want to soften and trust more. There's this, I feel like when I hear that, I think of the notion strong Black woman.
Yeah.
And then I hear a lot of women that are saying, I'm tired of being strong. And they're trying to adopt the soft life, which women deserve, right? But hearing that makes me question or even think like there's this internal process for her where she's like, I'm tired of doing, I don't want to show up like this anymore. And then in addition to that, I want to trust more. It makes me think, trust what exactly?
Wow.
Like what do you want to trust? Yourself, your family?
That's
like,
what I hear.
What is that?
Because when I go back to like, I redo my husband's chores.
I thought that
Again, no shame and no judgment.
I thought that was normal. This is crazy.
But that's what I think about when I hear the trust. I want to trust. And this comes up a lot with motherhood.
Yeah.
And with mothers that I work with, there's this moment where, because the fatherhood journey and the motherhood journey are two totally different journeys.
I've heard that.
And it's a really big deal when mothers have to leave their child for the first time because it forces them to trust that whatever is going to happen
there we go.
while they're not there is going to be okay. And you wouldn't believe the prep work that goes into a mother having to leave their child for the first time for an extended period of time, because so much of what they do, they one, have to acknowledge that no one's going to do it like them anyway, right? And they also have to realize that I have to trust that my children realistically are going to be safe. They may have a few gummy bears at 12 midnight, but that's not, again, the bottom is not going to fall out. You know? The other thing that I hear from her when she talked about, like, we talk about a trauma response and that safety, it can be really scary, I think, because so there's something called the strong Black woman schema, right? Look it up. It's heavily researched. And the danger about the strong Black woman schema is that not only am I buying into this notion that I'm a strong Black woman and I don't need help, but others around me are buying into the notion that she doesn't need help. So one of the things that I'm hearing a lot from this letter too is this woman needs help.
She needs help.
She needs help, and it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to look like you need help. You know what I mean? Because you obviously need help.
You obviously need
Not because you can't do it, but because you might be killing yourself trying to do it all.
Or because you want to soften and trust more.
You want to soften and trust more, right?
I can't do it because I can.
Yeah.
But this doesn't align with me being more soft and me trusting more.
What was the piece the part she said about peace?
She was like, I even pray for peace, but I still find myself tightening my grip every time something feels uncertain.
Yeah, we're not going to muscle our way to peace. Like, and when I say muscle, I mean like you're not going to be able to control your way to peace. Like it can't happen.
She killing this one, by the way. I just want to say
because
that.
Honestly, it resonates so much because, especially because she's a mother, it's like there's so much to be done. You cannot possibly put yourself in a place of expecting yourself to be the only one who can do all of it.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. That I did not understand the trust piece, but I get it now. Because when you relinquish, you have to trust that things will not crash and burn.
And you have to trust that if it's not going to look like how I would do it, it's still going to be okay.
On the smallest scale, I have a dog, right? And the sitter...
Shout out to Gunner.
Shout out to Gunner. What's good, G? I see you tomorrow. But the sitters were... when I go out of town and get a sitter, they weren't responding. So I'm like, okay, they always respond. What's going on? So I'm panicking, right? I'm like, okay, something happened, blah. But then I'm also like, but I need to get a sitter for my dog. So I got on the Rover app, and I'm sitting there looking like, easily I can just, get somebody. But I'm like, I'm dropping my dog off to a stranger. Ooh, God. And at first, when I first got him, I was like, sure, break. But now I'm like, he's older now. And great dog, but I'm thinking like, it just hit different. I was like, I hope he's okay. Ooh. Like, can I drop my dog off to this random person and trust that he'll be fine?
How'd you work through that?
I had to understand that there are some things that I can control and some things that I can't. And I talked with the people I met with, they seemed like a very nice couple. Like, I was like, okay, these are the things I can control. I can control who, I can control what the play, like, you know, where I'm dropping them off to. Like, I can like get the updates and stuff. That's all I can control. Other than that, and when I got them back, it was fine. Okay. Fine, but on I say smaller scale because I think children and dogs, there's some similarities, but children are way more costly and more hands-on than dogs.
But the concept is still there. And you know, people love their dogs.
People, yeah. You know? Some people go crazy, but it's a thing.
Dogs are people's family members. Absolutely. Put it that way.
You're 100% correct.
You know, dogs are animals that people assume responsibility for, they build relationship with, and Absolutely. They get to know better than anybody else.
That's true.
You know, I mean, I think it's the same concept applies.
Yeah, that was one of the first times, because he's been with that sitter for, at this point, over 2 years, and to take him to someone else, I was like, oh my God. Wow. Like, this is like, but again, trust. I had to trust that he will be fine, and I had to relinquish control. So
where would you start with her in therapy?
Where would I start with her? Let me see. I would definitely, I align with her therapist, working on the why and how control shows up for her. Does she understand the notion of control? And really processing that to where she understands that this is what control looks like. And what else? This is what control looks like, but also, like we always say, psychodynamic. The root of it. Where does this come from? Where did you learn this? And once she gets a really good understanding of that, then we work into changing and building the trust, being more flexible, and being collaborative with family. So it's like an individual issue, but also a family dynamic issue as well. Because, yeah, you can ask for help, but do you have a family that invites help or that meets you with help?
Yeah.
Or is open to help? Because you can say, hey, sure, I want help. And they're like, your husband's like, no, I'm not doing that. Or your kids are like, no, Mom, I'm not doing that either. So you can do it. You've been doing it. Like, it's a family issue. So I would address both entities of that, because, again, we can have all these theories, all this work, but everything has to be addressed, and hopefully she has a family that's open to her shifting, because the family, yes, this sounds good on paper, and she shifts, but it may fall for a couple weeks. Because your son doesn't know how to do his laundry, Mom. And now his laundry's piling up, or he's trying to do his laundry and he's using too much detergent. Like, it's going to be an adjustment. So it's going to be a whole process where you start with, or I would start with, understanding control, the notions of it, what's behind it, understanding the trauma to get the why, and then working with her and the family on making the shift in the home. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
What would you add to that or change?
You know, I would consider, when you talk about wanting the softness and the peace, you know, we recognize maybe what the problem is, but I would wonder, like, how, in a perfect world, how would it look? You know, like, what would things really be like? What would you want to let go of if you could? And just get an understanding of how she may be standing in the own way of her peace.
Yeah.
And recognizing where are some areas that we could practice relinquishing control, right? If you're saying this area of your life in which you're micromanaging or imparting control is causing you to feel like this, or you wish it could look like this, what can we do to get you closer to that? You know, so those would be some of the things that I would think about. I would also, to your point, I would eventually explore with her, what are your resources?
Oh.
You know, what are your resources when it comes to help? You know, where do you feel like you need help? And most of all, how are you prioritizing yourself in all this? Like, does the assumption of all of these responsibilities, how is that really working for you and how you feel? Because I know that there's anxiety written all over this letter.
From the beginning to the end.
From beginning to end. Through in and throughout. So in my head, I'm like, you can't feel physically comfortable, let alone mentally comfortable. So let's kind of really start to understand what prioritizing yourself in the midst of upholding what your personal responsibilities looks like. Because this isn't good for anybody, but it's definitely not good for you.
Wow.
You know, so those would be some of the things that I would explore and think about as well. Like, there has to be a shift because this is not prioritizing yourself or taking care of yourself at all.
And kind of like we said last time, like this wouldn't be a 1-2 session thing.
Oh.
Because you're really literally retraining someone's brain to have a different outlook on expectations, on family, on collaboration, and also control and trust. That's hard to change in 1 or 2 sessions.
It's very hard. So is building up the tolerance to sit in discomfort.
Right. Ooh.
Right. At home, people love giving my kids sweets, gummy bears, sour worms, all the red dyes, blue dyes, green dyes. And it's like, I'm like scratching my neck. I'm like,
because you got the carpets, the furniture, just, yeah.
But, you know, I'm I have to allow myself sometimes to sit in discomfort.
Oh,
because I'm
like in that moment.
In that moment,
you're looking at it like
I'm dying inside. But I'm like, what's a gummy bear or a gummy worm gonna do? Really, Maya? Release that.
Wow.
Release that.
Wow.
Now, when it comes to slime, that's another issue because we're not about to mess with this slime and this carpet and these clothes. No, there is slime.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
But what I've had to do. I've had to recognize, Maya, what you can control is the environment by which slime is utilized.
I get you.
And then after that,
that's it.
Have at
it. It's the same thing with my dog and my dad. My dad loves my dog, and he will keep him whenever. He's like, bring the dog. I'm like, well, what about me? He like, I mean, I'll see you, but make sure you bring the dog. Though. He'll call me. Are you still coming? I'm like, yeah. He's like, make sure you bring the dog. I'm like, he called to make sure I'm bringing the dog. But
that's his grandbaby.
That's his grandbaby in his mind.
Yeah.
And he's like, when I'm there, the dog is doing whatever. All these toys, all this stuff. And I'm like.
Food, everything.
Food. He used to give him like, but my dog can't eat regular food because he gets sick. But he will. But I'm like, Dad, you can't give him meatloaf. And he can't eat that type, Southern. So he gets some specific snacks and stuff and he feeds them and all this stuff. And I'm like, Dad, like. He does whatever he wants. And I'm like, you know what? You control him at your house, Greg. Let him do what he does. He's not in danger.
Yeah.
He's not really showing out. He's been a dog here and that's the environment they've created. It works for them. They're not complaining. Let them have that.
If you're going to let somebody help you, let them help you.
Let them help you.
Don't tell them how to help. Now, that doesn't mean go without boundaries, but if you're going to ask for help, let them help you.
Let them help you. Let them help you. So yeah, control.
What's your full circle moment with control?
Control. No, I'm playing. Full circle moment is just really leaning into what I can control and what I can't. And I've done, even in this conversation, it was very reflective for me because I've done a lot better with that. It was if it wasn't my way, there's no way this would work. And I've been privy to working with so many different people to where I've had to learn like, Greg, there are other ways. And actually, that was a better way. Yeah. And it wasn't your way. And learning that and sitting with that has been helpful. So in this moment, having so many examples come up in my mind where I'm like, I've done way better at this. Yeah. And learning to sit with the discomfort is something I'm still kind of working with. But the initial fight of the control, I'm okay with being like, yeah. Sure. So that's my full circle moment. What about yours?
Just sheer offloading. I think softness and peace comes when it's like, I love Erykah Badu.
You do. Shout out to Erykah. I know you listen.
I know you listen.
Manifesting.
But it's that bag lady song. You gonna hurt your back carrying all them bags like that.
Cause you used to carry some bags, baby.
I used to carry some bags, baby. But I'm in a season where it's like I'm like offloading. Like I'm putting down the bags. I'm not assuming responsibilities that aren't mine, and just kind of adjusting and releasing expectations where necessary because that frees up room for me to live and it frees up room for me to enjoy. And live softly and have peace. And so just relinquishing, that's the full circle moment for me, for sure.
I love that.
Wow. Control.
Right.
So once again, this episode 4, we're moving right along.
Episode 4, baby.
I'm loving this. I can't wait to hear what you all have to say about this, because I think the beauty is that we're all going through this together.
All of it.
Like
all
none of this. No one is exempt from these things.
Yeah, we're well-trained clinicians, and we tend to do really good work with clients, but it doesn't exclude us from going through these same things.
Yeah. So I'm encouraging you to offload where you can. Use flexibility and realism in releasing or adjusting expectations. And we appreciate you for helping us bring it full circle once again. See you later.
We out.
Yeah. This life will give you lemons and will give you lemonade. Just take the sour, mix it with the sweetness anyway. One thing about ingredients, they all inside of you. Maya and G just got the recipes for you to follow through. And when you do, pour it straight up to the top, toast it on up with a friend. Sit back, relax a little, laugh how you'll begin again. We know it's hard to move when it seems like you can't see, so go ahead and hit subscribe. Supplement your therapy with Maya and G. Yeah, it's full circle with Maya and G. Yeah, always for us and by us, never really about me. Come full circle with Maya and G. Yeah, this is full circle with Maya and G.